Royal. And I went to Lord.
Welcome to another episode of Songs You Know, and I have a dear friend of mine, an incredible songwriter, 10 number one hits, it's incredible, McKee.
Hi.
California Girls, Teenage Dream, Dynamite, Hold It Against Me, Britney Spears, Last Friday Night, Part of Me.
I was broke. I had nothing. Look who got famous. Katy didn't want me there. I didn't want to be there. All right, well, let's see what you can do. Katy came in the next day and she was like, I've got it. And it was California Girls. And I was like, brilliant, done, perfect. And I went to his house in the middle of the night and I stabbed this CD into the tree. And then I wrote in lipstick, Platinum Baby. Hi, thanks for having me.
Thank you so much for coming.
Of course.
And being part of this.
Yeah.
10 number one hits. I'm going to read them down. I'm sure you know all of them. California Girls. For the people who don't know it, can you sing it?
California Girls were unforgettable. Lacy Dukes bikinis on top.
Yay. I love that song. And Teenage Dream, Part of Me, and Last Friday Night, and Roar, my personal favorite. I wish I wrote Roar.
Oh,
what a great song.
Thank you.
Eye of the Tiger part. So
Thank you.
Dynamite, Taio Cruz. Mm-hmm. That was a song that everybody copied afterwards. Such a good song. And Hold It Against Me, Britney Spears. Big one. I mean, you've written with artists like Cher, Adam Lambert, Christina Aguilera, Rita Ora, Kesha, and of course, a lot of Britney Spears and even more Katy Perry.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
That's incredible.
Thank you. Thank you.
So I would love to walk through your life with songs and start like right at the beginning when you were, I don't know, what can you remember when you were 1, 2?
Yeah, I was always musical. I always wanted to perform. But I remember the first time that I was moved to get up and play something on the piano by ear. I used to watch Nickelodeon and they would play like Nick at Night and stuff where they would play old shows from like the 60s. Mm-hmm. And after the Brady Bunch, that show MASH would come on, which it's like a kind of a serious comedy. I don't know. It's a dramedy about wartime in Vietnam or whatever. But the theme song was so haunting. And I found out much later in life that the song is called Suicide is Painless, which like comes through even just in an instrumental. Like you feel it. Wow. You really feel it.
How does it go? Da 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 da
da. It's just so haunting and so beautiful and so sad. And I just remember thinking like, it was like the first time I realized that a sound could make me feel something. Yeah. And so I got up and learned to play it on the piano, just like picked it out. And then I remember I saw a special on TV that was a live Tina Turner concert.
Oh, yeah.
And she did Proud Mary. And I like jumped off of the couch and was like crying with joy. Like I was just
with the tempo change.
Yeah, I was just like blown away, and I was like, I want to do that. I want to be that, you know. And I was really raised with MTV. Mm-hmm. I was born in the '80s, and back then MTV was just all music videos. Yeah. And I feel like watching music videos is kind of what really moved me to get into music. Like I loved music, but it was more that I wanted to make music video. I was like, I want to do that. I want to wear a costume. I want to dance. I want to sing, I want to tell a story and make a little mini movie. And ultimately that is still kind of like my first love is making music videos. The visual side of things for sure. And then I started writing songs when I was really little. I would just like hear songs on the radio that I liked and I would change the lyrics to make it about like fairies or elves or whatever I was into at the time.
I'd love to go song by song, but also learn a little bit about your parents, if you have siblings, and maybe the town you grew up in. Maybe bring us into this world. Yeah,
I was born in Northern California in a little town called Fairfield on an Air Force base. My father was in the military. And I have an older brother. My mom teaches meditation. She's big into transcendental meditation. And my father was a doctor in the Air Force. And so we moved to England when I was 6 months old or whatever and lived there till I was about 3. So I learned to speak in England. And I would say, Mummy, Good name is Sweetie. Sadly, I lost my accent. And then we moved back to Northern California, lived there till about 4th grade, and then I moved to Seattle. So I spent my formative years in Seattle, and I started, getting into, I always loved pop music and Michael Jackson and Madonna and Prince and that kind of stuff. And then the Spice Girls came along. I got really into that. And then I started writing my own lyrics to the songs that I would hear on the radio.
How old were you then?
Well, when I first started doing that was when I was in Northern California. So I don't know, maybe 7, 6 or 7. I would just like secretly write my own little songs, but I was shy. I desperately wanted to be on stage, but I was pretty shy, so I never really shared those with anybody. But I would write poetry as well.
Nice.
And I would like read poetry at the talent show. I would like sing a song and then I would read some poetry. When I was in middle school, I recorded a demo of covers.
Yeah.
I did Bette Midler songs and Fiona Apple and Carole King. I loved like female singer-songwriter vibes.
Do you want to share one of these songs you did?
Oh, let's see. What did I do? I did The Wind Beneath My Wings.
Uh-huh.
Also, I loved Jewel. I was really into Jewel, and I would do Foolish Games.
Yeah.
So good. And then I got to work with her later in life, and that was like such a bucket list moment. I was like, oh my God.
Yeah.
And we're still friends. We still like comment on each other's stuff on Instagram and stuff. And I just like can't believe that I know Jewel. And let's see. So I made a demo of cover songs, and my mom knew one guy in the industry in Seattle, because Seattle like wasn't obviously like a big pop town.
Yeah.
But he was a guy named Jonathan Poneman, and he worked at Sub Pop Records and signed Nirvana and stuff.
Wow.
So he was in the meditation community, and so was my mother. So I played him my demo of covers, and he was like, "That's great, you can sing, kid, but can you write?"
Yeah.
And I was like, took that challenge, and I went home. I was like, I think I can. So I made my first original song for like a school project in 9th grade, I think.
Just you by yourself?
It was like an after-school program thing, and I actually got to work with, I forget the guy's name, but he was in the United States of America, or the Presidents of the United States of America, the band that did Millions of Peaches for Me, and he was like, this is pretty good. I mean, it was like so abstract. It was called Ink.
Yeah.
And it was like an exploration of depression and adolescence,
How do you sing Ink in a chorus?
I don't remember. I have like the notebook somewhere that I wrote it in, but I mean, obviously I hadn't figured out melodies yet, but I had lots of
It's a hard word to sing.
Yeah.
Ink.
Yeah, I don't know, not my best. But yeah, you got to start somewhere. Sometimes you got to phonetically get something in your mouth and be like, "What does this feel right?" And no, it did not feel right. But it was cool to be encouraged by someone that I really looked up to.
Yeah. Was he like your first mentor, maybe?
I mean, I was really just like a couple of after-school things. And then I found him on Instagram and I DM'd him, was like, I don't know, I'm sure you don't remember me, but like I grew up and I did something with myself.
Yeah.
And he never wrote me back, but it's fine. And then I made a demo of original songs. I had a really rough adolescence, and so I had a lot to write about. I had a lot that I needed to get out.
What happened?
I was really struggling with depression, and I got into drugs, like hard drugs, pretty early. Like 12, 13, I was like going for it.
What kind of drugs?
I got into the rave scene. I went to my first rave when I was like 13, and I was taking acid and ecstasy, and that sort of graduated to meth. So I was living a very grown-up life in a little girl's body.
12 years old, 13 years old. That's crazy.
Yeah.
What did your parents do?
They were beside themselves. They didn't know what to do with me. My mom and I didn't get along. I mean, she did her best and she cared very much about me, but I couldn't be stopped. I was very headstrong.
Do you think they could have done anything different, or is that they did the best they could and you were just...
I think that they gave me the space that I needed to figure myself out, and they did their best to protect me. I was like sneaking out to go to these raves, and I would be gone until 8 o'clock in the morning.
Wow.
And so they would wake up and their adolescent daughter would be gone, and they'd be like, where are you going? And I finally was like, look, I'm really into this rave scene. I love to dance. I love the music.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not like out in a weird alleyway somewhere. I'm going to these like organized events.
Yeah.
And they were like, okay, can we just drive you there so we know you're not in a car with a weird teenager that's maybe using and driving? And so they started just driving me to the raves, and they dropped me off at like 10 p.m., picked me up at 8 o'clock in the morning. You know, I needed that freedom. And, you know, when they first started trying to ground me and stuff, like they put a lock on my window, they put a lock on my door, like they tried, and I just started going out the front door. I was like, look, I'm not going to stop. So you might as well just get on board with this. Yeah. And they did. And I'm glad that they did. Because I feel like I learned a lot about just like culture and relationships. And I was hanging out with a lot of older people, which was like probably not great. You know, I got street smarts pretty early. Yeah.
What were the songs you did around that time?
You know, it's funny because I loved pop music so much, but like the music that came out of me, because my only instrument that I knew how to play was a piano, was like very singer-songwritery. Yeah. So I actually wrote my whole first album that came out on Warner Brothers a few years later when I was like 14 or 15.
Do you want to play one of those?
I have not played this song in probably 15 years.
Yay, that's great.
But luckily it's really simple and stupid, so whatever. But this is actually the song that got me my first record deal.
Amazing.
Let's see if I can even remember it. Let's see. Oh my God, I'm nervous. Okay. I sit alone, a dark theater, watching the people go by, hand in hand, everybody but me. I stay behind, watching the credits roll by. That's not the right lyric. Roll, roll, roll right by me. But I know I won't cry, 'cause there is somebody waiting for me out in the rain. Won't cry, not tonight, 'cause there is somebody waiting for me.
Nice.
Anyway, yeah, that was like my first heartbreak ever. I had this much older boyfriend who I should not have been with. And he like ghosted me, and so I was just like lonely. My first little heartbreak, and I wrote this song, and then it ended up getting me a record deal.
It's great though.
Thank you. That song got placed in a couple of big syncs. It was in Win a Date with Tad Hamilton. I didn't understand like the value of that at the time. I was like, wow, that's cool, but I didn't really understand how rad that was, because now I love syncs. Like that's like my favorite thing to do. Hearing my song paired with a visual again, because I'm such a visual person, and so having like an emotional story for a song to go along with is like the ultimate experience of music for me.
So after this album, what happened next?
Well, I got the record deal. I moved to LA. Went by myself at 16, almost 17, and really kind of like learned the hard way.
Where did you live at 16?
I had a manager who got me an apartment in Hollywood, right in Hollywood. I've always lived in
at 16 in an apartment.
Yeah. Wow. He had an apartment in the same building, so like I kind of had a chaperone, but I was like, thought I was grown. I thought I had it all figured out.
Your parents were okay with that, or they couldn't.
They couldn't stop me. Aww. They couldn't stop me. My parents were in the middle of a divorce at the time, so like things were hectic at home. Yeah. You know, I got a big record deal. They knew that I had money, and you know, they trusted my manager, and so it was kind of, you know, I got emancipated from my parents so that I could like sign contracts and do whatever I needed to do and work independently. And I signed with Warner Brothers, and that was that.
And then how did that continue?
Well, the album came out. The album took so long to come out. Oh my God, because it was already written when I was signed. I worked with Rob Cavallo, who I love so much, and he produced the whole thing, and it just took forever. And it's kind of like in this industry, like when you're like the young, hot, new thing, shiny toy in Hollywood, it's like you got to move quick. And for whatever reason, it took forever. And it was like the dawn of like internet music, where it was like #1 on Yahoo. and the label was like, that's great, but like we're not gonna put any more money into it. And we were all like, wait, but the internet, I think that really matters. And so I don't even know what that means to be #1 on Yahoo, but it was reacting is the point. So it flopped. First album flopped. And then I was kind of held hostage at the label for 6 years.
Wow.
And I started working on another one, and I was turning in songs, and the label wasn't calling me back. Like, I went from being like industry darling to like nobody answers my phone calls. And I was frustrated. I was pissed. I was trapped. I didn't think there was any way out. And also, I didn't understand yet that, you know, getting dropped is a rite of passage. Like, I thought that if I got dropped from my record deal, that my life would be over and that was going to be it. And no one would ever look at me again. And it was just too devastating to even fathom. But eventually I was just so frustrated that I was like, I got to get out of here. Just let me go. If you're not, I'm writing all these new songs. I was getting better and better at songwriting.
It's the story of so many artists.
Oh, yeah.
It's so heartbreaking.
With
Kesha, it was, I don't know how many years. Crazy.
Yeah. I mean, when I work with young artists, and because I work with all kinds of artists that get dropped all the time, and I'm like, well, congratulations. You've made it. You've made it past the first test in the music industry. Yeah, exactly. So, and especially these days, like, record deals don't mean what they used to mean. You know, like, it used to be like, if you didn't have a record deal, no one was ever going to hear your music. And now the power has really been given back to the artists.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that.
Yeah.
So you were 16, 17, 18. What happened next?
I was frustrated. I wanted to leave this label. So I had just turned in a bunch of songs. Nobody responded. So I burned a CD, which...
It must have smelled horrible.
Yeah, had to throw it right in the trash. It was ruined. No, I burned a CD of my best new songs, and I went to the CEO of the label's house in the middle of the night. I bought a dagger on Hollywood Boulevard at like a smoke shop or something that had like a tiger on the handle and a jewel in its eye. And I went to his house in the middle of the night, and I stabbed this CD into the tree with this tiger dagger. And it was right outside his front door, so it would be the first thing he saw when he walked out the door in the morning. And then I wrote in his car in lipstick, "Platinum, baby," because I wanted to get his attention. He wasn't returning my calls. And I was like, okay, well, then I'm going to come right to you. I'm going to come to your front door. And I guess the next day was the kids' first day of school, and everyone was hysterical and thought that like a maniac came in the middle of the night, and they're not wrong. But needless to say, I got dropped. So I got what I wanted. And then I was like, now what? You know, and I really spiraled. I really fell in deep into my alcoholism and addiction. I thought my life was over, but I started dating a producer that I had met, and he was just signing a publishing deal. And I was like, what's that? What's a publishing deal? And it was this little boutique company called Pulse. And I saw him like going into sessions and like, you know, doing demos for like Bruno Mars or whoever. And I was like, well, I can write songs. Like, let me in, coach. You know, like I was like annoying kid sister. Like, let me try.
Yeah.
And I was like singing demos for my supper and getting like $200 a pop or whatever, and just kind of like keeping all my money in a shoebox because I had been levied by the IRS. Like, you know.
Oh no.
And yeah, I ended up signing a little publishing deal with Pulse. I was client number 3, I think, there.
Wow. And they're doing great now.
Yeah, they're killing it. Yeah, they really turned into like a proper publishing company. And then I had met Katy Perry socially, totally randomly. I was living off of Melrose, and I was selling my clothes at a thrift store called Wasteland, which is like a hipster, cool thrift store.
Love that place.
I love that place still. Yeah. And we were both standing in line selling our clothes, and they're very pretentious there. And so we were just like getting rejected, and they were just like, no, this is last season. I'm like, and we just struck up a conversation, and because she had cute style, I had cute style, and she was like, you're Bonnie McKee, right? Like, she had heard my first album that I put out. And I was like, yeah, like I never got recognized ever. But she's like me, where it's like I keep up with like other female artists. Like I want to know what other people are doing. I didn't have any friends that were my age, that were in my industry, that were creative.
So she was your first friend.
Yeah, kind of. Like I had friends that were like, you know, we were like fuck ups together, and we would like get drunk and party and whatever. But I didn't have any friends that were like ambitious like I was. And so we were fast friends. And then I think she had just gotten dropped. And then she ended up signing the next record deal and blowing up kind of overnight. And I was like, wow, I had never known anybody that like got famous before like that.
Yeah.
Dr. Luke had heard about me through Katy. And so he wanted to sign me. So I ended up doing a joint venture.
How long did all this take? Like from when you first met her?
I think we were like 19 when we met, 20 maybe.
Yeah.
So maybe like 3 years. I'd say. yeah, I had been kind of getting a few little cuts here and there, being signed with Pulse, and like learning the ropes of co-writing, which is a very different experience than what I was used to. I was used to writing everything myself and sitting down at the piano. And like when you first start co-writing, you have to be like, okay, someone's going to challenge my ideas. And like maybe they have a better idea than I have. And that's like, threatening. And you're like, wait, no, like.
That's well put.
Yeah. But then once you surrender to it, it's amazing. Where you're like, oh my God, you have a better idea than I have. Amazing. Because now I get to put my name on that and we can make it better together. I love collaborating. Right. And I really prefer it now to writing alone. Because I feel like when you write alone, it's just like option anxiety. You could do literally anything in the universe. And it's like, where do you even start? Yeah. But when you have a partner, then you can like ping pong together, I ended up signing with Luke, a joint venture with Pulse. They brought me in on the Katy album. So we wrote the whole Teenage Dream album together.
Can you walk us through that process? Like song by song, like all the songs we know, I really want to know.
Yeah.
How did they come together from the first idea that sparked the song? Mm-hmm. Where were you? And all that. What was the first song you wrote that became a hit?
The first song that I co-wrote with Katy was Part of Me. Luke hadn't brought me in on anything yet, and Katy and I had had a falling out, so we weren't speaking at this time. Aye. It was like she was an ex-friend, and it was like,
What happened? Why did you fall out?
I think it's just like early 20s competitive, she got another record deal, and I got dropped, and then it was like I wasn't cool anymore or something. Just catty girl stuff, normal. I mean, I still see it where I'm like, I see like the younger girls doing that. I'm like, don't do that to each other. Just like join forces, like strength in numbers,
It's a good one.
Plenty of room for everybody. And also like, you want to help your friends. Like, if your friend wins, then like you're closer to winning too.
True.
They had started Part of Me, and I guess Katy was stuck on the lyric. And so he called me in. Katy didn't want me there. I didn't want to be there.
Wow.
But I came in like, they called me like 10 o'clock at night. And I came in and it was like, oh, hello. Haven't seen you for a while. Look who got famous. And then she was like leaving, and she was like, all right, well, let's see what you can do. I was like, okay. So they left me at Conway overnight. I spent the night there.
Whoa.
Me and Clint Gibbs was the engineer, I believe, that night. And he's a big mixer now. I love him. We work all the time. And I was just like, all right, well, this is my moment. I guess I got to figure it out. It was the first time that I had like, I knew the artist. And so I felt like I could kind of get inside of her head and like say what she wanted to say. Because there was already like a foundation of the song. Part of Me was already there. Like the chorus was already pretty much written. And it was just like the verses that needed to fill in. So I just got to work. And at the time I was so broke. I didn't have a car. I didn't have hot water. My cell phone had been turned off.
Cold showers.
Yeah.
No communication.
Yeah. Yeah. No car, no nothing. And I remember they came in the morning and Katy listened to it. And I was like, I was shuddering. I was like, please, God, like, please. And she was like, you're getting a new car. And I was like, ah! And then we were like friends again.
From one verse, you get a new
from
car.
one thing. And I was like, okay, great.
That's Hollywood.
Yeah. And then we were friends again. It was just one of those stupid things. I mean, I think we realized, we always knew we had a like kind of a cosmic connection.
Yeah.
It's sort of like a sisterly thing where it's like we kind of would butt heads, but we complemented one another, So that was the first song that I wrote with Katy Perry. This is the part of me that you're never gonna ever take away from me, no. This is the part of me that you're never gonna ever take away from me, no. Throw your sticks and your stones, throw your bombs and your blows, but you're not gonna break my soul. This is the part of me that you're never gonna ever take away from me, no.
Nice. Thank you. Yay. You sound great.
Thank you. That part was already written, though. I can't take credit for that.
But you put the verses in, and then the song became a big song.
I think the line in that song that I was most proud of was, I just want to throw my phone away, find out who's really there for May.
Wow.
May. It's got to be May. Like, when I'm doing my rhyming, when I'm writing, like... Me falls under May, always. Like, it works either way. Like, thank you, Max Martin, for that.
All right. And then from there, so this song, did it come out right away? Or how did it continue?
So that was the first one that we did. And I think in the beginning, everyone thought that that was going to be the leading single.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was like, thank God, because I really need this.
Yeah.
But then they kept writing and it kept getting better. I think that the next song we did was Teenage Dream.
Were you in the room together on that one?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay,
that was more of a collaborative effort.
How did it get started?
Benny Blanco had this amazing track. Max had written this crazy melody. They would like always get something started and then bring me in for, to finish it up. We wrote 5 different versions of it front to back lyrically because the melody was great. The vibe was great, but we just couldn't nail the lyric. There was a version of it that was like, try me on, where it was like, try me on. It was kind of like dress you up in my love. Some of it was all like fashion stuff. And it was cute and it was very Katy too. Yeah. Like it was a clever lyric. It was like zippers and velvet and silk and, like it was cute, but it was just like, it needed to have a little more heart and a little less camp,
So was she a real perfectionist? She wouldn't stop until it was perfect?
No, Katy's a fantastic writer and she knows what she wants. Yeah, she's willing to dig until it's right. And I really admire that about her because I'm the same way. And I feel like a lot of times I work with artists or other writers that are just like, good enough.
Yeah.
And I'm just not that way.
Yeah.
Like my first draft is never the final draft.
Yeah.
Like this whole like writing a song in a day, I'm just like, that's why I feel like there's not as many evergreen songs as there once were because people are not taking the time to really edit and chisel away and like find the gold, Yeah, so we wrote all these different versions of it. One of them was like, you make me feel like I'm born again, all brand new. Come on, Peter Pan.
It's also not bad.
I mean, yeah, it was cute, but it was like too young. And we had like, I remember Katy and I were writing a pre-chorus that was like about the next thing you know, you're a mom in a minivan. It was all about like, eating ice cream for breakfast and watching cartoons and like wanting to stay young forever kind of thing. And then I remember Benny Blanco coming in and being like, it needs to be cooler. And I was like, yeah, it does. It needs to be cooler. And so we settled on kind of a more mediocre version of Teenage Dream. And Max and Luke were like, we're done. This is done. It was kind of like a good enough thing. Like, look, we've dug and this is the best we can do. I don't want to fucking hear about it anymore. This is what we're going with.
Wow.
And they all went up to Santa Barbara to start recording and finishing stuff. And I wasn't invited yet. I was still just like getting my foot in the door with them, But I was like, it was just nagging at me. And I was like, I know that this can be better. I know that I can solve this. And I sat down and I had my 8 Mile moment where I looked in the mirror and was like, you're going to get this, bitch. This is your chance. Don't blow it. I just started thinking about my own adolescence and, dreaming of my first kiss and, what did it feel like, that first love? And I thought about like my high school boyfriend and how it was, up until then, I was always like nervous around boys. And I was like, oh, like, I have to look good. I have to smell good. And he was the first one that I was like, oh, you think I'm pretty without any makeup on. And like, you can be vulnerable and be kind of stripped down and be yourself and somebody still likes you. And there's not that anxiety, that adolescent anxiety of being like, do you like me? And I don't know, Teenage Dream came into my head. And a lot of the stuff that we had done in the previous draft still worked. Then I brought that up to Santa Barbara. Max was like, I don't want to hear it. And I was like, no, I think I got it. And then when I finally was like, here's the title, everyone was like, fuck yeah. And so then Katy and I went to town and you
let them know you had something better and then you drove all the way to Santa Barbara to play it to them and you sang it to them?
Yes.
Like that, you had an idea where you felt so strongly about that you went all the way.
Yeah, well, I mean, they did invite me up. And so I went up and we were supposed to work on the next songs on the album, but I was like, I'm not done with this one yet. And like Max was so annoyed with me and he wouldn't listen to it for like a couple of days. He was like, I'm done. I don't, it's done. It's fine. Put it to bed. And then I was like, no, just trust me. And then I brought Katy to the side and was like, listen, I think I solved it. And she was like, I love this. And then we built off of that together and finished off the lyric. And then we were like, let's just like do it behind Max's back and then we're going to present it and he won't be able to say no. And then when we showed it to him, he was like, well, why didn't you say so? I was like, okay.
It only was that easy.
Yeah.
Amazing. What a song.
Thank you. Thank you.
Incredible song. Yeah.
Thank you. I'm really proud of that one.
You want to sing it?
Sure.
Yay. I love that song.
I'm not a great piano player, so just forgive me. You think I'm pretty without any makeup on. You think I'm funny when I tell the punchline wrong. I know you get me, so I let my walls come down, down. Before you met me, I was alright, but things were kinda heavy. You brought me to life. Now every February, you'll be my Valentine. Valentine, let's go all the way tonight. No regrets, just love. We can dance until we die. You and I will be young forever. You make me feel like I'm living a teenage dream. The way you turn me on, I can't sleep. Let's run away and don't ever look back. Don't ever look back. My heart stops when you look at me. Just one touch. Now baby, I believe this is real. So take a chance and don't ever look back. Don't ever look back.
So nice. What a great song.
Thank you.
I love that when I tell the punchline wrong.
Oh, thank you.
And it really connects so much more if I know that this comes out of your darkest time.
Yeah. The punchline wrong one. I feel like nobody really talks about that line, but that one also hits me. Because it's like, when you're just not afraid to be a dork with somebody.
That's a big one, yeah.
And they love that about you.
Yeah. It's amazing. And then from there, where did it go next?
I think the next one was Last Friday Night. And that was a song that was really, all of those lyrics were really kind of based in reality.
In your reality.
In our reality, in Katy and I's reality.
Because you had really spent a lot of time together as friends before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we were party girls, and we both were like hostesses with the mostesses. We love to throw parties. We love a theme party. We love a costume. We love an adventure.
Yeah.
And so we really just drew from our experiences of like kind of running Hollywood when East Hollywood was like kind of slummy. So, we went streaking in the park, skinny dipping in the dark. Well, as a matter of fact, while we were up in Santa Barbara, I think we had just finished Teenage Dream, and we went out on the town in Santa Barbara, that's where she's from, and had a night at the bar and brought back a bunch of random people to the hotel. And it was right on the beach. And Katy was like, let's go streaking. We're going streaking. We went streaking. We went skinny dipping in the ocean. And I remember like seeing Katy out on the rocks. It was like cold. It was like February, I think.
All of you together with all the guys too.
Yeah, everyone was just naked. I mean, I don't think that I was, because I think I was a little like nervous, because I was like, this is like Katy Perry and we don't know any of these people.
You were
and
the
like,
only one not naked? Everyone else was...
I think I was in my underwear, but I was like, okay. And then I remember she slipped and fell on the rocks. Like a big wave came, and I just remember seeing her like butt ass naked in the moonlight and just like disappearing into the waves. And she like cut her forehead and was like bleeding everywhere. I was like, oh my God. And so I kicked everybody out, tucked her in and cleaned her up. And she was very hungover the next day. Yeah. And the next day we wrote Last Friday Night.
Wow.
Yep.
So that's just like what happened last Friday night.
Yeah. That's just what happened. Pretty much.
That's great. I love it. Do you want to sing the chorus?
That is the wordiest song that I've ever written in my life. And every time it comes on the radio, I'm like, how does this go again? Like, why do we write so many words? I can't believe it was a hit.
Yeah.
Because it's like, usually you want to kind of keep it simple, stupid, you know? But I don't know. I guess it connected. I think that the secret to writing really wordy songs is like tight internal rhyming. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, I get very Eminem on that. I feel like it's easier to digest when things, I mean, just like, how you remember nursery rhymes when you're a little kid. It's kind of the same thing. Like,
and I love that you lived all these stories. That makes it so much better.
Yeah. I mean, what else do you write about?
Imagination.
I mean, look, I've definitely run out of things to write about before. Mm-hmm. And when I do, I love movies and TV and stuff. And so I can like draw from that. Mm-hmm. I'm also very visually stimulated or whatever. Or I'll listen to my friends, because my friends got all kinds of gossip. So they spill the tea and I'm like, like they'll say one little line and I'm like taking notes,
So what was after Teenage Dream?
So we thought we were done because Teenage Dream was such a gem. And we were all like, this is special. This is a really special song. However, It was Katy's sophomore album. She was coming off of I Kissed a Girl, Hot and Cold, like big, pop songs.
Yeah.
And I think that everyone felt like it was a little bit earnest and that it needed like a warm-up song.
Yeah.
And so like to get everybody looking at her again, and then we can be like, and now we present this masterpiece, And so California Girls was the last song that we did on that. The track was together and Katy and I were kind of playing with some lyric ideas. I think it was one of the original ones was Je ne sais quoi, which like glad we didn't go with that.
So the track that was Luke, Max, Benny,
yeah, Luke, Max.
What a power combination.
Yeah, oh my God, yeah. I mean, really, the Teenage Dream album was the dream team. Like everybody pulled their weight, everybody had their specialty, and we just worked really harmoniously. It was a beautiful time.
Incredible.
And I was so spoiled for that to be my first time really like having any hits. I was like with the best in the world.
Where do you go from there?
That's the thing. And it's also like I had a lot of imposter syndrome because like when it blew up, I was like, well, no shit. I was in the room with the best in the game. Like, of course it's a hit, you know?
The combination of the best in the game.
I mean, yeah, I didn't really know if I had anything to do with that at the time. And then like as the songs aged and as I started having hits with other people, with other artists without the Dream Team, I was like, maybe I am good at this. Maybe I did bring something to the table.
Yay. So California Girls, tell the story.
So California Girls, we, again, wrote several different lyrics for that. It wasn't a struggle like Teenage Dream, but pretty much we spent like 2 days on it doing Je ne sais quoi or whatever. And then Katy came in and was like, I've got it.
Where was Je ne sais quoi in the title? Or in the hook?
I think that we added syllables to the melody in order to make California Girls fit. So I think originally it was like Je ne sais quoi. I think that's where I fit. Yeah. Because it wasn't California Girls. I think we added some extra syllables there.
Okay.
But Katy came in the next day and she was like, I've got it. And it was California Girls. And I was like, brilliant, done, perfect. And we're both California girls. We both grew up in California.
Yeah.
And so we had plenty of references. She was like Daisy Dukes, Bikini. Like she really killed it on that one. And then I think I suggested the sippin' gin and juice because I was thinking about like California like culture, like the West Coast rap shit that I grew up on and love so much. And yeah, it was just like the most colorful, bright, happy little ditty. And really it was after New York, Concrete Jungle. So we wanted to do an answer song to that.
Nice.
And Katy was like, well, what about California? Like, we got to represent. And I was like, all right, West Coast represent. Let's go. So yeah, California Girls happened. And then...
do you want to play it? California Girls.
California girls were undeniable. Daisy Dukes, bikinis on top. Sun-kissed skin so hot will melt your popsicle. Oh, 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 oh.
I love that. It's such a feel-good song.
It really is, yeah. Instant party time. And then having Snoop Dogg featured on it, oh my God, I'm such a huge Snoop Dogg fan. That was like a dream come true. Yeah, what a legend. And I got to meet him on the music video set. And it was the first time I met him. And I was just like toying with getting sober. Mm-hmm. And so I was on the set because I finally had something to lose. Like that's part of the reason that I ended up getting sober. I'm 13 years sober now. And I was like, look at all of this amazing stuff that's happening. I better get my shit together or I'm going to lose it all again. Because I was like, I felt like I had a second chance in the industry. And I was like, I cannot fuck this up. And so I was on set for the California Girls music video and Snoop Dogg offered me a joint. And I had to say no. I was like,
wow.
And I was like, I can't believe I'm saying this, but it's going to be a no for me, dog.
Dog.
Then, so California Girls came out.
Yeah. And
instantly went number one. I had never had a hit song. I had barely had a song on the radio before. And it didn't feel real. It felt like it was all going to be ripped out from underneath me. It was all just a trick. It was like a fluke. It would be number one day and then just like fall off the charts. And then it was like a smash. Wow. And I was in disbelief. I had a lot of imposter syndrome. And then it kind of settled in and I was like, maybe I'm going to be okay. Mm-hmm. Maybe it's going to be okay.
Real. Maybe it's going to last.
Yeah. And Teenage Dream, and then Last Friday Night, and then I was just like, whoa, and I had a crazy summer. And that same summer, Dynamite, Taio Cruz came out.
Another one of those, yeah.
So I think
Massive song.
huge. I never thought that one was going to go as big as it did. Like, I thought it'd be a little bop, but I didn't know it was going to end up being like the song they play at the baseball game.
How was the writing of Dynamite?
Dynamite was maybe the only hit song that I've been a part of that my part was written in a day. And again, this was around the time that I was getting sober. And so when I heard the melody, da-na-na, da-na-na-na-na-na, da-na-na-na, it kind of felt earnest. And it made me feel something. It gave me that sort of feeling that I got as a little kid listening to the MASH theme song, where I was like, oh, I really feel something here. But it was obviously supposed to be a party song. And so I was like, okay, how do I like sneak something real in here so that it appeals to the masses, but I know privately that there's like a heart underneath it.
Yeah.
And so Max wrote the melody and had phonetically put something together. So I was kind of following his phonetics. And
just some mumble jumble.
Yeah, just mumble stuff. And which is incredibly helpful to have like a phonetic map.
Is that
follow.
How he works usually?
Yeah. Sometimes there are actual words in there, and but for the most part, it's like phonetic mumbling stuff, and like the most brilliant mumble you've ever heard in your life. Where you're like,
there are actual words in there.
And so people always ask me like, why is it I throw my hands up in the air only sometimes?
Yeah.
And I'm like, because the song is secretly about surrender. It's like, I throw my hands up in the air sometimes. It's not like, I throw my hands up in the air sometimes.
Yeah.
It's like, sometimes you got to just let go. You got to surrender.
Yeah.
And so that's my own little secret, like, piece of heart that I left in there. And then Taio came in and he wrote the lyrics on the verses. And when I first heard them, I was like so mad, where I was like, no, like that's, I was still like, trying to be, I was still pretentious about lyrics. And I didn't understand like the power of like just great phonetics, easy words, and like fun, splashy party time,
Yeah.
And like without that, I don't think the song would have gone at all. Like what he did was so brilliant. And I like had a new appreciation for like simple pop, because it's simple, but it's super memorable, and it's also still visual. It's very smart, like wearing all my favorite brands. Like everybody loves to sing that part. Yeah. So I was a snob about it at first, and then when it worked, when something's a hit, you hear it with different ears too.
You were trying to still outright him and do it better in the verses, and he was like, no.
Exactly. I was, and that was like a big lesson for me, and I have a lot of respect for Taio Cruz. He's an incredible songwriter. Like he's really had some bangers in his career.
But that was the biggest one for him, right?
I don't know. I feel maybe.
That's the one I'd remember him by.
Yeah. I think Heartbreaker was a big one. And then, I don't know. He's great. A lovely guy. Fantastic writer. So I had this crazy summer of hits that I did not.
That happened all in 1 year?
Yeah. Whew, yeah.
Hey, thank you so much for watching part 1 of my conversation with Bonnie McKee. Be sure to tune in next week to watch part 2, where we talk about the creation of Wide Awake, the story of Roar at the Grammys, and Bonnie's tips for aspiring songwriters. You don't want to miss it. So be sure to hit the bell to get notified when we post. Be sure that you're subscribed on YouTube and following us on Spotify, so you never miss a beat. See you next Tuesday.